Martian Red is a 2D pixel platformer about a Martian that crash landed on planet and needs to collect some gems to return home. This game took me 4 months of active development. Although speaking in real time, I started the project all the way back in February 2022 and it just released a few weeks ago. I'll get into why that is in just a second. But first, I've already lied to you in this video. See, Martian Red isn't exactly my first game. If you go to my itch page, I have so many other games there. However, when I say first game, I mean, this was the first project that I really wanted to be a complete experience. A lot of the games here, they were either made during a game jam with different teams or just casual learning projects. My goal with Martian Red was to have something actually polished that could be deemed my first release. So with the goal identified, I set off in 2023 to start building. I didn't want to spend too much time with art, so a majority of the art was acquired. I did credit all the creators though, and essentially I was racing quick to get all the main mechanics in. The game was going to have 4 levels with 4 distinct platforming mechanics being tested in each level, and then a hub world for you to traverse to get to each level. I had very quickly got together a character that could move around, do wall slides and jumps, climb ladders, these platforms that broke away when the player was on them, and these mushrooms that acted like springs to give the character a nice bounce. My approach towards level design was initially having an area to introduce some mechanics and let the player get used to them and then go to an area to test these mechanics. Things were going pretty well and I actually had everything ready to polish and get the game out. But see, that's where I was mistaken. My biggest takeaway from the development of this game was actually learning what it truly means to polish a game and make it a great experience. I had some life things get in the way which prompted me to put the development of the game down, and I wasn't able to pick it up again until February 2024, a whole year later. So when I get back to the game again, I thought it'd be a breeze to just get it done and get it out, but boy was I wrong. First of all, while the game was there, it needed a lot of work. See, for a platformer to actually feel good, it needs to feel really tactile, and there's few different mechanics that a lot of platformers employ to make them feel actually good, so this was the first thing I was going to tackle. While doing this, I also realized that the spring mechanic didn't really feel responsive at all. The way I'd implemented the spring initially just felt like it didn't fit anymore, so I decided to scrap it entirely. I also realized that being able to wall slide and wall jump felt more like a core movement mechanic rather than something that would be tested on its own. So instead of giving wall slides their own level to be tested, I scrapped those levels so that wall slides could be more of a core mechanic and complement obstacles pretty much everywhere. So with these realizations, I actually had less to worry about now, but I also needed to make sure that what was in the game felt really good. So here's where I'd like to talk about game feel. See, game feel is basically the juice that separates a game that feels really good to play from one that's just a bunch of squares on a screen moving and interacting with each other. So little particle effects here and there, sound effects, music, animations, backgrounds, all needed to be pristine, because even if a player wouldn't notice them, they sure would feel them. Another thing I want to emphasize that I learned here is the importance of actually getting others to test the game. See, once I was done putting the whole thing together, I decided to wait a week, and in that week I got as many people as I could to play the game and give me feedback. And this revealed quite a bit. Firstly, although I did want the game to be a bit challenging, I did want it to be fair. So I definitely needed to make some level adjustments to make sure everyone had a chance, both veteran platformers, enjoyers, and also maybe those people that don't play a lot of video games. I also learned about some completely game-ruining audio experiences that existed at the time, because the way I designed the audio interface, the audio levels the players set for themselves weren't fully working, which could result in some jarring audio experiences. Lastly, and this one wasn't super obvious, but something a player does in a challenging platformer is get unalived a lot. And initially, upon unaliving, what I just did was instantly teleport the player to the last checkpoint, but what that did was if the player was already holding down a forward button when they got unalived, the character would just move and get unalived again. So there needed to be a little bit of an unalive delay, which made getting unalived actually feel really good. And that was something I wouldn't have noticed on my own, because when you're making a game, you kind of get really good at it and you kind of also know what to expect and what's coming up. So that's not really something you run into that often. So playtesting for me was truly really helpful. Another thing I learned while waiting a week before launch was that I could utilize this week for actual marketing. And this included me making a trailer for the first time and posting it everywhere. And when I say everywhere, that includes places like Facebook, where usually it would only be family or childhood people that would actually see the trailer. And even then, I was really embarrassed to post it, but I actually got a really good response. And also, I did post it on LinkedIn as well. And again, this was another place I was really embarrassed to post because the air about LinkedIn is really professional. However, this was another place that I got a really good response. And I realized that when you build your online circle to be really nice people, usually these people really actually want to support you and really want to know what you're up to rather than putting you down. So my marketing takeaway was post everywhere and don't be embarrassed to post everywhere. And with all that being done, I launched the game on Friday the 5th of July and got about 250 views the first day. And someone even decided to donate some money to the game, so I actually made money on this game. All in all, I was glad I was actually able to create a good experience, and for the most part, everyone who played it actually loved it. I did get some people who did struggle and just gave up, but maybe they just need to get a little bit better. So if you've made it this far in the video, be sure to go check out Martian Red. The links are going to be down below. The game actually tracks how quickly you beat it, so be sure to comment down below if you were able to beat my dev time. And as always, remember that you are all made of stars, so I want you to keep burning bright and showing the world your light. I'll see you later. Bye.